Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm gonna show you how I like to water my orchids that are potted in inorganic media, mainly Seramis and hydroton. Now first of all, how do we know it's time to water because I'm not using clear plastic pots anymore? Well, there are a few ways we can determine this. First of all, I would look at the orchid because it would show me when it's starting to get dehydrated and when it could use some watering. However, my orchids are recovering from the transport, so this is not a very good indication at the moment. So here are a few other tips. First, you can check inside the media as much as you can and see if the lower layers are still moist or not. Mind you that the Seramis will have a darker color even if it's just slightly moist. It might still be time for watering for some orchids. Second, we can use a bamboo skewer. Just insert it in the pot, leave it there for a few hours, and if it's wet when we pull it out, it means the media is still moist. If it's dry, it is time to water. Then we can feel the ceramic pot itself. If it's moist to the touch, it's clear that inside things are moist as well. If it's dry, then things are drying up inside as well. Also, we can check for the weight because Seramis is quite heavy when it's wet. If the pot feels a lot lighter than after you water it, it means that the media has dried. Now let's talk watering techniques. My preferred method right now is to water from above with a watering can. Now I try to disperse the water evenly on the top of the media and keep watering until just a little bit of water comes out of the bottom. In my climate and for my orchids, this water that stays in the tray is gone by nighttime. Also, because I am using clay pots, which kind of steal a little bit of the water, I do want some water in the tray as well for the pot to absorb it. If I place a smaller quantity of water, it might not be enough for the orchid. So for me right now, it's not a problem to have some water in the tray. It's gonna be gone by nighttime because it's gonna be stolen by the clay pot. A second technique would be to place water in the tray of the pot. Now this works a little better with smaller pots and those pots who have a bigger ratio of Seramis rather than hydroton. For Cattleyas, I do still prefer watering from above, but this is a viable option as well. This will depend a little bit on environment. If you have a lot of ventilation, things will kind of dry out on the top. But as you can see, the water goes up and the pot is actually wicking some of the water, and usually in a few hours things will be pretty even for me. Now a great way to water smaller orchids in smaller pots is by using a wash bottle, and this is something I discovered recently and I'm using to death. Because the wash bottle can get into those tight corners, can release a smaller quantity of water so you do have control. So with the tiny orchids I use this wash bottle. Usually I water from the top because, as I was saying, my orchids don't have a lot of roots inside the pot at the moment, and again I do this until I see water coming out in the tray, and I do leave quite a bit of water in the tray for the smaller pots because they do dry out faster. As you can see, the pot is starting to wick up the water, so it's kind of stealing some of the water, so leaving it in the tray is really no problem for me. Also, the wash bottle is very useful if I only need to wet a little bit the top of the media, in the case of orchids which have absolutely no roots or just a few growing roots. In the same way I water the bigger orchids, which again might be suffering from lack of roots. I only need the top of the media or a few roots on the top to be wet, and the wash bottle does the job beautifully. A few things I'd like to mention. I am using osmosis water and I fertilize with rain mix, which theoretically should be added to rainwater or distilled or osmosis water at each watering, but I'll talk more about fertilizing and all of that in a different video. Things need to be adapted to environment and you do need to pay attention on how the media dries. Seasons might influence this as well, but for now these are the methods that I'm using and they're working really well. Okay guys, thank you for watching. Hope you found this useful. Don't forget to rate this video down below, subscribe to my channel for daily orchid videos, and feel free to leave me comments, suggestions, or questions you might have in the comment section below. Also, feel free to write me anytime at the address you can find in the description below. If you click on the left side of your screen, you're gonna be directed to orchidnature.com, where you'll find care sheets, identification sheets, and also you can talk to us in the forum section. And on the right side of your screen, you can click to watch another orchid video. Thanks for joining, I'll see you next time!